I'd like to do a Hakdama today of Ashrei. And this is very, very much a very, very exciting part of Pesukah Zimra for sure, because as we know, Ashrei is definitely one of the highlights, one of the many highlights of Pesukah Zimra. And we need to discuss, before we even go and delve into the words of Ashrei, which is a Sugya B'fnei Atzma, which Mr. Hashem will do next week, we need to have a little bit of a Hakdama to what is Ashrei, why is it so important, and I think that will help us before we actually get to the words over here. So there's a few things that we have to discuss, and that is, there's a Gemara in Brachos, Daf Lamed Amud Beis, where the Gemara tells us, Chasidim HaRishonim, Hayushoyin Shah Achas, Umispalim Kedei Shechavnu Libo La'avim Shebashamayim. So the Gemara tells us that the original Hasidim would actually sort of ponder, wait, spoidus, meditate, whatever you want to call it, for about an hour before davening, so that they would have the proper concentration and kavanah for the actual davening itself. That's what the Gemara tells us. And in fact, the Gemara goes on to explain where's the raya for this, where is this coming from? So it's actually coming from this. It's coming from Ashrei Yoshvei V'Secha Oidei Luchasela, which Rashi understands that the pasuk means that before a person begins tefillah, Yoshvei V'Secha, you have to sit and meditate in your house, and only afterwards Oid Yahala Luchasela. So the raya they get from this idea of meditating and understanding and getting involved in davening before the actual davening comes from the idea of Ashrei Yoshvei V'Secha. The Mishnah Brura in Siman Nun Aleph brings down that the main reason that Chazal instituted saying Ashrei 3 times a day is because it contains the pasuk Posech Esodecha, which we will get to when we get to the pasuk to explain that over there. And that leads us to this idea where the Gemara tells us in Brachos Daf Daled Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Kol ha'omer tehillah leDavid b'chol yom. Now we know that Ashrei is a sort of an introduction to the words Tehillah LeDavid, but anyone that says, the Gemara tells us, Tehillah LeDavid every single day, 3 times a day, you say Ashrei 3 times a day, and of course we all say it 3 times a day, because we've got it in Shachos in the beginning of Pesukah Zimra. We also have it by Ashrei al-Balatzin at the end of davening, and then we have it again by Mincha. So if you say Ashrei 3 times a day, the Gemara says, Muftach loishu ben olam haba. It is a guarantee that you will be a ben olam haba. So Rav Aaron Leib Steinman Zatzal in his Sefer Yamala Pitel Asecha wants to understand what exactly is going on over here. And he asks Akashi, he says, so does this mean I can be Machal or Shabbos and all I have to do is say Ashrei 3 times a day and I'm guaranteed to get olam haba? That's Gavaldik. And he says, and what happens, for example, for a Rosh, how does it help? And for a tzaddik, what does he need it for? He's a tzaddik anyway, so he's going to get olam haba. So Rav Aaron Leib asks, what is this Gemara telling us that if you say Ashrei 3 times a day, you're going to be a ben olam haba? Either I'm a tzaddik, I'm getting it anyway, or if I'm a Rasha, so what's it going to help to say Ashrei 3 times a day? That's the kasha. Okay, enachanami. So he wants to say that, he brings a few answers, that he says that, he brings Rabbeinu Bechaya, that says, the kavona is, very interesting, Rabbeinu Bechaya. Rabbeinu Bechaya says that if a person actually ponders and has concentration during saying Ashrei, and that's the big important idea, is that you will realize the niflois of how the Rebbeinu Shalom runs the world and how much debt we have to have for the Rebbeinu Shalom, that will automatically change your behavior and change everything that you do during the day, and mimela you'll be a ben olam haba, because of what you're understanding. And that's what the Gemara says in Brachos Daf Chasam Beis, that when a person is careful to say Ashrei 3 times a day, ben olam haba, zuk de mogen avram, that doesn't mean you're just saying the words. Saying the words of Ashrei is not good enough. And that's important, that's what we're doing over here. We're not just saying the words of Ashrei. Says the Mogen Avram, it means you have to understand the meaning of the words and the greatness of the Rebbeinu Shalom when we describe him, and that's an incredible thing. And of course, it doesn't only mean saying the words by Posech Esodecha, which we'll get to, it means the entire Ashrei. In fact, listen to this. There's the Sheboile Alekat. The Sheboile Alekat brings down the Gemara in Brachos Daf Daled that says that there's another reason why the Perek of Ashrei Yoshvei V'Secha has the most unique power to gain a person entry into the world to come, is because it actually is al pi the Aleph base. If you go through Ashrei, It starts from Aleph and it goes all the way until Tov. Says the Marsha in the Gemara, what is the significance of Ashrei starting from Aleph and going to Tov and having within it the whole Aleph base? Says the Marsha, it's a reminder for people to learn Torah, which is the nourishment and the sustenance of their neshama. And it was written with the 22 letters of the Aleph base, and therefore we are not only thanking the Rabbeinu Shalom for our physical needs, we are thanking the Rabbeinu Shalom for a much greater kindness, and that is He also provides our spiritual needs as well. Says the Marshal, that is why Ashrei is so important. That's why it has so much potential power in it as well, and that's why it's very, very important. In fact, with Shimshon Pinkas, in Nefesh Shimshon, when he discusses Ashrei, he brings down for the Kadmonim, that in Ashrei there are no bakoshos, there is no request. Even Pasech Zadecha is not a request, it's a shvach. And therefore it's a perek that is dedicated fully to the shvach on Hodah, to the Rabbeinu Shalom. He goes on to say that when a person says the Mizmor of Ashrei Yoshrei Veisecha, you're ma'oira tremendous chasodim peninius in the world, and there's tremendous shroshim and roots that are very, 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 very deep, and we have to understand as much as we possibly can, exactly what they are. So let's just end with this. The Rishonim bring down, Tosfos and Brachas Lamabeis and Mabeis brings down, that a person should say Ashrei before Tehillah LeDavid. The Gemara in Brachas again says that they were masakin to say Ashrei Yoshrei V'Yesecha specifically because it comes from the Gemara that a person should ponder before davening, before asking for what he needs. And the Tshuvas HaMarshal brings down that they were specifically misaken to say 3 times a day, Ashrei Yoshrei V'Yesecha. Why? Very interesting. Says the Tshuvas HaMarshal, you know why they were misaken to say Ashrei 3 times a day? Because it's connected the 3 times that there's a voice that comes out from Shamayim and says, Oy labonim shegolum al shulchan aviem. Oy shesarafte esahei chali. There's a voice that goes out 3 times a day that says, woe, that there's a Klal Yisrael are in exile. Woe, there's no Beis HaMikdash, the Beis HaMikdash was burnt. And therefore we say, Ashrei Yoshrei V'Yesecha 3 times, connected the 3 times that the kol comes out, that we are moidim, that we also have a Mikdash Ma'at. And that's a Beis HaMedrash, that's a Beis HaKnesses, that we are saying Ashrei Yoshrei V'Yesecha. And Mitzvah Hashem, next week, Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to start the incredible words and power of this incredible Mizmor Ashrei Yoshrei V'Yesecha, Mitzvah Hashem, next week.